Welcome back to North Coast Licks on 107.5 FM, The Fox. Now joining me on North Coast Licks, we have JROC from Blackstone. Blackstone, a band that actually did an interview with Kid Mitchell about a year ago. You might have heard some of the songs that we play of theirs. You, Welcome to the Underground. JROC, great having you back on. Lots been going on, man. How you been?
Hey, DJ Cody, awesome. Things have been awesome in the last year, and great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you talk about the first time you came in, you guys had just put together a demo, trying to get the music out there, get played, and now all of a sudden, you guys have a full CD. We'll get into that in just a second. Before we get into that, kind of refresh our memory. Who's all in the band, and how'd you guys get your start? Where are you from?
Well, we're out of Cleveland, and everybody in the band is basically from the Cleveland area. I'm a transplant from Kentucky, if you might pick up my accent.
I couldn't tell.
Cool. But yeah, we have Eric Edwards and actually John Januzzi are sharing the bass this year due to both. Eric has a little limitation in how much he can tour, so John will be picking up the dates that Eric cannot. And we have the great John Carlino on drums, who is amazing. And so are both the bass players. And I am the songwriter, the frontman, and I'll play guitar.
Very nice, very nice. Now, you know, when you guys first came in, like I said, you had the demo. We had 2 songs. You did an interview with Kid, and now we flash forward almost about a year, and you put together a CD. Did that whole year, was that the entire process from start to finish of putting together the CD, or how did the idea of putting the full CD together kind of come together?
The vision was always there, probably a year prior to the interview with Kid, but since we talked to Kid, you guys had us on the North Coast Licks show, the live gig at the Cove. We had a blast there, and one of the things that solidified moving forward with the CD and going ahead and doing the best we could with it was, for one thing, we had a great response while we were there at the show, and the other thing was just totally being blown away by people who are 2 hours away from us singing the lyrics to the songs. Just, totally blew me away, and it was really a big punch in the arm for us to do the best we could, to go into the studio, give top shelf writing, leave everything on the studio floor and come out with a superior sonic quality and a great product. And along with that, after we actually finished the CD, David Spiro, who is an incredible rock and roll legend manager who has managed the Eagles and Ringo Starr and Cat Stevens and Glenn Frey and Stephen Stills. I mean, he's an amazing legend, and he's also on the board. He helped start the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He actually got wind of us and heard 2 tracks off Cast the First Stone, which is the name of the full-length CD. He got to hear Misery and Clock on the Wall, and he was blown away, and we actually got to meet him. And this guy does not meet anybody. He's the most elite of the elite, and we got to have what was supposed to be a half-hour meeting turned into me spending all day with him, and he is now a friend of mine, and which is very cool.
It's a nice confidant to have.
Oh, it really solidifies. It really solidifies your work. We knew we rocked, and we knew that we weren't terrible. But when somebody like David Spiro goes, "Hey, I'm blown away," it really solidifies that we put out something great. And not to mention that he gave us one of his best booking agents in the nation, Adam Davis, which is going to give us the chance to tour.
It's one thing when you have family and friends that are like, yeah, you guys rock, it's awesome. But to hear it from, a third party somewhere out there, it's always kind of nice, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, yeah, you guys are obligated to tell me I'm good.
Right. It's sometimes the wicked part about it all is that you actually are waiting for somebody just to tell you, it's all right.
Yeah.
Or you kind of want some balance sometimes, but hey, if we did that well, and it sounds that good. We think so, and as long as our fans think so and our future fans believe in it, that's all that matters.
Welcome back to North Coast Licks on 107.5 FM, The Fox. Joining me in studio, we have JROC from Blackstone talking about the new album they've about to release. I almost said they've released, but it's about to come out. Cast the First Stone. I've had an opportunity to hear it. By the way, JROC, it's a fantastic album. People definitely need to be on the lookout for that. But take us through the development of actually putting together an album. You know, like I said, a year ago, we had 2 songs from a demo. Now we have a full-blown album. What was that process like for you guys?
First of all, thanks for the kind words, Cody. The album was pretty much written about a year before we went into the studio, and with Jeff Westlake of Ridgeline Studios in Kentucky. He's an old friend of mine and just happens to be a disciple of Michael Wagner, who is a living legend in the recording industry. He mixed and mastered Master of Puppets and
oh wow,
all of Skid Row, all of Dokken. You know, you can go. He owns Wire World Studios. You can just Google Michael Wagner and you'll find that probably 90% of what you're listening to in the last 15 years, if you're a rock guy or rock girl, Michael Wagner probably has had his name on it. So when we went to the studio with Jeff, it was totally easy, Cody. Jeff made us feel right at home. For some reason, that red light syndrome that musicians get in the studio, as soon as that record button hits, nerves fly and you forget and you black out, you know. But for us, probably 85% of that album is one take.
Very nice.
Yeah, which is amazing. And Jeff was almost laughing. He almost thought it was a joke. You know, it was so easy. It was a record time that we tracked it, but, you know, other things along the way happened, which the reason why was a year later. We had a personnel change. Ray McGarrow was our bassist before, and he is no longer with us. And we wish him well. I have no idea what he's doing, but hopefully he's doing something awesome. Between the personnel change and having the bass lines redone and going in and making sure, revising and making sure that everything was perfect, you know, pretty much 10, 11 months passed by, and only the last few months, the record's been ready since October, but the way things work in the industry, you really, if you're a no-name band or on your way up or up and coming, like a lot of bands are, you do not release after the holidays. You have to kind of wait. Interesting. Yeah, so instead of doing it right the first year, we thought we'd let a month go by or so, and since the Fox showed us so much love at first and had us on and been spinning our stuff, we decided that it was only right to exclusively announce the release date for Cast the First Stone on the Fox.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. Why don't you let everybody know when the official release date is for the album?
The official release date for United States and European distribution will be February 4th.
Coming up here pretty soon. How excited are you guys? Like, obviously the process, you said, a little easier than what some bands might have gone through. You said 85% first take, but ultimately there's a lot of hard work, sweat, and tears that goes into that. What's it going to be like when that thing finally hits shelves and is finally out and people can buy it? What's that going to be like for you guys?
Surreal, Cody. It seems like this time was never going to get here. And, you know, you almost feel like you're going to have a heart attack up until, you know, you even find out when the release date is. And it's going to be very surreal, but yet we're so driven to get out and really pump this up, because one of the cool things about Blackstone is that we sound just as good live as we do on the CD. So we're very excited to get out and really get this thing going and tour big and make this album everything that we thought it would be in our dreams.
Welcome back to North Coast Licks on 107.5 FM, The Fox. Still hanging out. We have JROC from Blackstone, and we're talking a little bit about the development of the CD. I had an opportunity to listen to most of it. Two of my favorites just so happen to be two songs that you said you're kind of back and forth between which one's going to be the single, Clock on the Wall and Misery. Little interested to get the story behind those two songs, seeing how you're the singer-songwriter of the group.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You have great taste, by the way, Cody.
Thank you.
Clock on the Wall, extreme butt-kicking song, was co-written with a great friend of mine who actually introduced me and got me hooked to David Spiro. His name's Matt Fabian. He was the publishing editor of the Cleveland Scene, which is the city media rag, so to speak. He was the publisher there, publishing editor there for years, and he's no longer there. But a legend, a musical legend in the Cleveland scene. He is great guitar player and known as Dr. Hook amongst his friends, and we are big fans of each other. He respects and enjoys my guitar playing and songwriting as I do his. So we had a great time, and we wrote Clock on the Wall together. And it came out to be just so powerful, man. What a great song that is. Very proud. Misery. Misery is one of those things where a musician writes his best when he's hurt or when they're down. You know, happy songs never seem to come out of my camp for some reason. But life is good, don't get me wrong. But misery is one of those things that has to do with your darkest hour, addiction, losing your faith, and trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel, trying to find some faith, trying to muster up a way to tell whatever it is that is the monkey on your back to, you know, you've had enough. And misery was one of those things where I actually almost did not make the album because I felt that I had outwritten myself. I didn't know that I could even sing it properly. And if it wasn't for John Cardellino, our drummer, I probably would have made the executive decision, being the songwriter, principal songwriter, to not put it on the album because I just didn't know. I couldn't find my way within to give the song justice with the vocals. So in the studio, I made sure that, you know, I went for a walk and got my head together and really got my soul and into the moment of what that song really meant, and the vocals and the guitar solo even kind of screams some emotional content, and it came out better, much better than I thought it would. And when I heard the first run after it was mixed and mastered and produced, when Jeff put his magic into it, I actually cried.
Very nice.
So good, yeah.
It's got to be great to be able to put something together like that, especially with that situation when it's something that's very very important to you, something that you put, like you said, you felt you outwrote yourself. It's got to be. I tell everybody, I'm not musically inclined, so I've never had that opportunity. But I got to think that it's got to be something, just a fantastic feeling when you actually finally hear that song played back to you.
It's incredible. It's surreal. It's like a kid, but the incubation process is less than a year. You know, and if they come out healthy and strong, you know, you're obviously elated. But with music, you know, it's something that's going to live on hopefully long after I'm gone from the earth. That you know, somebody will have the CD. They gave it to their son or daughter, and they live on with it. And, you know, it lives on as its own little enigma. But yeah, it's incredible to see something, because you're basically building something from nothing. From nothingness comes the melody, comes the lyrics, comes this whole thing that comes together. And there's so much work that goes into the songwriting before I even bring it to the guys in the band. And then once we get to that point together, then it really starts to take form and shape. And then you revise and you revise and you revise. The beauty of it, and the discipline within that, is knowing when to stop. When are you done?
Yeah.
When is the last part of production done? You just have to come up with the discipline and know that, does this sound good with just me playing acoustic and just singing the words? Does it still stand on its own? Well, if it does that and it rocks full force with all the electrics, all the production, then you got something.
Now, let me ask you this. With the songs that are on the album, did you have most of those already kind of in mind? I mean, how did you, how long did it take you to finally fill out the album with the songs that you wrote?
I basically had about, the idea for all of them were there.
Okay.
Probably had about half the album done, but then once I knew that the studio time was booked, it kind of takes a little kick in the rump like that to push you to get to the point of, okay, we have a solid song. Okay, this is good enough to play out at a gig, or even though it might not be fully produced, probably half of it was ready the last year, the beginning of last year, and then the other half to a third of it really came down to the wire of going into the studio, only because I wanted it to be the best